Good evening, Jai Hind. Welcome to Khan Global Studies. I hope I am properly audible and visible to you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Sachin. So I hope I am properly audible and visible. Jai Hind, good evening. Okay, so in the last session, we have discussed some of the articles with respect to Jammu and Kashmir also. We have discussed some of the questions, yes, related to cheetah also, then about the Kuno National Park also. Prior to that, we have been discussing about what's there in Delhi also, and plus at the same time, this emergency provision and what has happened in Delhi with respect to the Chief Minister resignation. That can there be early elections or not? Now, in the same sequence, in this entire week, Polity has been there in the news almost on daily basis, and today also we are going to talk about one of the very important topic, that is one nation, one election. So one nation, one election is something which has been now approved by the Union Cabinet Minister. Sorry, Union Cabinet, not Minister. It has been approved by the Union Cabinet. Now the process is, it will go into the Parliament, it will be tabled in the Parliament. Upon passing of the various parts of this bill, then there will be some ratification by some of the states also, and then it may be brought into implementation. Okay. So that is something which may happen in future, but we can talk about what has been proposed and what is the condition as per se. Okay. So yes, so let's see what are the topics which we have. Yes, the first topic is one nation, one election. So we are going to talk about this, like what has been proposed with respect to one nation, one election. Then we will also talk about Indus Water Treaty. We are also going to see about this Indus Water Treaty, that what has been said with respect to this Indus Water Treaty. India has now said that we are not going to have any such commissioner level meeting. We have to now go for renegotiation on this Indus Water Treaty. So that is also something which we are going to discuss. Then we are going to talk about announcement of certain new space missions. Some new space missions have also been announced. So we are going to talk about that as well. And then we are going to talk about extradition of the ex-Prime Minister of Bangladesh, that is Sheikh Hasina. So these are the four topics which we are going to discuss in today's session. Okay. So now, before we go into that, let us see some questions. Okay. Now this one question is there. I think we have not done it last day. Which one of the following statement is correct? In India, the same person cannot be appointed as governor for two or more states at the same time. The second is saying the judges of the High Court of the states in India are appointed by the governor of the state, just as the judges of Supreme Court are appointed by President. Third is saying no procedure has been laid down in the Constitution of India for the removal of a governor from his or her post. And fourth statement is, in the case of Union Territory having a legislative setup, the Chief Minister is appointed by the Lieutenant Governor on the basis of majority support. Okay. So tell me, out of these four statements, which one is correct? So read the statements once again carefully. In India, the same person cannot be appointed as governor for two or more states at the same time. The judges of the High Court of the states in India are appointed by the governor of the state, just as the judges of Supreme Court are appointed by the President. Third is, no procedure has been laid down in the Constitution of India for the removal of a governor from his or her post. And fourth option is, in the case of Union Territory having a legislative setup, the Chief Minister is appointed by the Lieutenant Governor on the basis of majority support. So which one is correct? Yes, Chandrayaan has been proposed for, the plan is that we are going to have this Chandrayaan in next 36 months. Correct. We will come to that. First, tell me about this one. What will be the correct answer here? Good evening. Governor's job is still on mercy of president. Okay. So I think majority of answers are yes, Samrat. Chandrayaan 4 in 2028. Okay. We will see that. Don't worry. So now you all know that if we talk about the first one, you all know that this same person can be appointed. So this first option is incorrect. The judges of High Court, we have seen that last day also, they are appointed by the president. We have seen the entire flow chart with respect to appointment process of the High Court judges. Then the third is, no procedure has been laid down in the Constitution of India for the removal of governor from his or her post. So this third option is correct. The fourth option is again incorrect. Can you tell me who appoints the chief minister in case of a union territory? Who is appointing? Who is appointing this chief minister in case of union territory? No problem, Manisha. You can watch it later also. No problem in that. Those who are watching this in the recording session, so you also have to give answer. You can post your answer in the comment box later also. So those who are watching it later, while you are seeing the video, you can post the answer and then go to the answer section. Yeah. So yes, in the fourth. So in the fourth, yes, president is there, he will be appointing. Okay. See, majority support itself means like 50% plus 1. Majority support itself will mean that 50% plus 1. Then only there will be formation of government. Not only in union territory, in any of the state. If there are suppose 100 seats, so in order to form the government in any situation, majority will mean here 51 only. So like in any case, 50% plus 1, that is the requirement, whether it is union or a state or the union territory. So that is fixed. Okay. Now, coming to the next question. Consider the following statements with respect to United Nations General Assembly. All UN members have equal representation in the United Nations General Assembly. Second is saying, it is responsible for appointment of all the members of United Nations Security Council. The fourth option is saying the decisions of United Nations Security Council must be approved by UNGA for execution. And how many statements are correct? How many statements are correct? Only 2. B is wrong. Okay. See, if you look at the first statement, I think all of you have seen that it is the correct statement. If you have gone through the last session, you might have seen all the UN members have equal representation in the United Nations General Assembly. So that is one of the correct statement. First one is correct. Secondly, saying it is responsible for appointment of all the members of United Nations Security Council. Now, you might be aware that even in the United Nations Security Council, there are 5 permanent members. So there is no such appointment of them. It is responsible for the election of non-appointment members or the appointment of non-permanent members. So that second option is incorrect. Third is saying the decision of United Nations Security Council must be approved. There is no such requirement. United Nations Security Council is the most powerful body inside the UN system. So there is no such requirement. This third option is also incorrect. The answer here is only one. Okay. So that answer here is only one. Okay. Now, so there is one more question. This is from 1995 also. Okay. Now, this question, see this one question, and then we will move to the one nation, one election system. The question is, which of the following are matters on which a constitutional amendment is possible only with the ratification of the legislature of not less than one half of the states? Means in which case we will need the ratification by one half of the states. First is election of the president. Second is saying representation of states in parliament. Third is saying any of the list in 7th schedule. And fourth is saying abolition of the legislative council of a state. So in which of them there is a requirement of ratification by the states? So where we will need this ratification by the states? A. Okay. Now I am molding this question a little bit. Okay. I am molding this question a little bit. Let me write the question first and then I will ask you. Okay. Now I am cutting down this one. The fourth option I am removing it. Instead of this fourth option, I am giving you another option here. Election to parliament and state legislature. Election to parliament and state legislature. Second is, I am cutting this one also. Election to local self-government. Okay. So I am changing this option a little bit. See the question once again. The first one is reading now, election to local self-government, means panchayat and municipalities. Second is representation of states in parliament. Third is any of the list in the 7th schedule. And fourth option is election to parliament and state legislature. Now the question is, in how many of these cases ratification by half of the states will be required? Listen to the question once again. We have now got four options: election to local self-government, representation of states in parliament, then any of the list in 7th schedule, and fourth option now is election to parliament and state legislature. So now the question is, in how many of these cases ratification by half of the states will be required? So this will be question number X. Question number X. Now give the answer. Okay, one answer is 3 only from Sachin. Then we have all 4 from Betto. Okay. Lakshmi is also saying D option. Ritu is saying C. Okay. Good evening. C option. Okay. So now tell me one more thing. Like, okay, this one is correct. This one is also correct. No doubt in it. Okay. So 2 statements are correct. Now out of 1 and 4, which one requires ratification by half of the states? out of the option 1 and out of option 4, which one will require ratification by half of the state? If there is a change with respect to election to the panchayats, will there be a requirement of ratification by half of the state? Second thing, if there is an election to the parliament and state legislature and there is any amendment of the process, will that require ratification by half of the state? Election to parliament and state legislature will require ratification, correct? See, this option, this one doesn't require any ratification by the state. If there is any such amendment for election to the parliament or state legislature, that doesn't even requires a special majority. It can be simply passed by the parliament through a simple majority. It doesn't even requires any such a special majority. If the union government wants to make some change to the elections to parliament or state legislature, that can be done very simply with a simple thing, simple majority. It doesn't even require a special majority in parliament, leave alone the ratification of the states. Ratification by the states is going to be required in elections to the local self-government. This will require the ratification of half of the states. So do keep this in mind. Go and see your Lakshmikant also. You will find this. The elections to parliament and state legislature does not require any such ratification by the states. It can be done simply by the parliament. But if there is any such change to the process of local self-government, it will require a ratification by more than half of the states, at least half of the states. So keep that in mind. Okay. Keep that in mind. Election to the parliament doesn't require this. This is our constitutional setup. But the local self-government, it is a matter of, like, it used to be a matter of first state list, then it was like changed also. Okay. So that's why what we see that it requires ratification by the state. But state assembly elections or parliament level election, the procedure does not requires any such ratification by half of the states. So do keep that in mind. Read your Lakshmikant, you will get the clarity. Okay. It doesn't require, read the constitution, there is no such requirement. Requirement is only in case of election to the local self-government. That is the change. Okay. Now, whenever we are talking about one nation, one election, we have to start from here itself, that what will be required for what constitutional amendment will be required. The majority of the amendment can be done simply by the union government. There is no even requirement of state government. Now, let us start this one nation, one election then. Okay. Is that shocking for you? Is that shocking for you that it doesn't even require special majority? Leave alone this. Leave this part of ratification by the states. It doesn't even require a special majority. Okay. So that is the first thing which you have to know in context of one nation, one election. Now, so what is the observation of the committee? A committee was formed under the chairmanship of Ramnath Kovind. Okay. So that committee was formed with this objective to recommend what needs to be done in order to have this one nation, one election. Now the Union Cabinet has approved this proposal that we are going to have this one nation, one election. Okay. And what are the observation of the committee? That frequent elections create an atmosphere of uncertainty. When there is frequent election, there is a such situation of uncertainty. Hence, we need one nation, one election. Second observation, simultaneous election will ensure stability and predictability in governance by minimizing disruption and policy paralysis. So, the panel has said that, the committee has observed that due to simultaneous election, there is policy paralysis, and due to which, if we are having one nation, one election, so for next 5 years, the government will work. That is one of the motto. The third is, it will help reduce cost and increase voter participation. That it will bring more voters for voting in the elections. It is going to increase the participation of the voters. So these are some of the observations. These are some of the observations of the Ramnath Kovind panel, okay, or the committee headed by Ramnath Kovind, the President of India. Okay. Now, how it is going to be implemented, how the scheme will go on, or how it is going to be implemented. The thing is, at the time of next election for Lok Sabha, all state assemblies and local body will be dissolved. Okay. So suppose that if this is passed and a date will be decided. So let us assume, this is not the fixed part. Let us assume that this bill is passed. Okay. This bill is passed. So in 2029, when there is going to be the next Lok Sabha election, by that time, all the state assemblies and the local panchayats and all other municipalities, they will be dissolved. That 2029 will be their last tenure. Even if they have been formed in 2027, 28 or 26 or 25. Okay. So they will have a tenure which will end in 2029. So this will be a one-time intervention, that their tenure is going to end by 2029. So that is the first thing. In 2029, all state assemblies, all state and local government will be dissolved. Okay. Then this is just an example. I am not saying that it is going to happen in 2029. I am giving you an example. Okay. In 2029, it will happen. Now, what it has said that first Lok Sabha and state assembly elections will be conducted simultaneously, and then within 100 days, there will be elections of panchayats and local government, panchayats or municipalities. Okay. So first Lok Sabha plus state legislative assembly. Okay. And then local government within 100 days. Within 100 days. Okay. So that is one of the main thing, that within 100 days there is going to be this within 100 days there will be election of the local government. Now the question is, now there is another question. Let's suppose that in 2029, let us say that we have got Lok Sabha elections, we have got state legislative assembly election. Okay. So now let us say that there are 3 states, Bihar, then there is Manipur, and let us say that there is Kerala. So they have all got their elections in 2029. All of them had elections in 2029. But due to any condition, the government was dissolved or government failed, or there was a hung assembly or government lost its majority by any region. Let us believe that in 2021, 2022 and 2023, let us say that their tenure has ended prematurely. It was supposed to end in 2024. But let us say that in the beginning itself, let us say in January 2023, its tenure has ended. Now, election is going to be there in 2024. Here again, election is going to be there in 2031, 33. 2031, 32, 33. Okay. So let us assume that it will have this tenure ending in 2031. So then what? then there will be election. Then there will be election here. But this election will choose a government for only the remainder terms of 3 years. There will be a remainder term of 3 years here. Here you will have 2-year tenure and here you will have 1-year tenure. Means in this situation, we will have a state election for 1-year tenure. Here we will have a state election for 2-year tenure and here for 3-year tenure. In the same manner as there is elections in panchayat level. But in panchayat level, you don't see that much of disruption. In the state case, in the case of a state legislative assembly, there can be much more frequent disruptions. Okay. But according to this arrangement which has been proposed, which we will also get the bill in the future in the winter session. So according to that, it has been said that it is going to work like this, that for the remainder tenure, there will be election and the new government will be valid for only 2 years, 3 years or 1 year. Okay. And then after again in 2034, there will be again the election and again some new government will be chosen. Okay. So this is the arrangement which has been proposed under the one nation, one election scheme. Okay. Now, what more has been said? Okay. What more has been said? First, any amendment? Yes. For constitutional amendment with respect to terms of parliament and state assembly, it doesn't require ratification by the states. So this is the observation of the committee also, that for making any change with respect to terms of parliament and state assembly, there is no such requirement of ratification by the states. But for the constitutional amendment in relation to local bodies will be required to be passed by ratification by at least half of the states. Okay. Because now what we have seen that their tenure has been fixed for 5 years. Okay. So that will require this constitutional amendment part of federal structure. It will be requiring the ratification by half of the states. But for parliament and a state election, there will not be any such requirement of ratification by the states. Okay. So this can be done simply by the parliament. It can be simply done by parliament, and here parliament plus states. So that amendment thing which I have told you in the beginning itself. In 1995 also there was a question, and then now again you can expect a question. So go through that chapter of amendment of the constitution in Lakshmikant. Read all the things which are there. You might expect a question in prelims next year. Okay. Now, what more has been said? There will be a preparation of single electoral roll. Okay. And see, right now what is happening? Election Commission of India, that is also preparing an election roll. And then we have the State Election Commission also, which prepares the election roll. Now, some states do follow the Election Commission of India only, but some states have their own electoral roll. So now that needs to be merged. There is no need of such duplication. So there will be one single electoral roll throughout the country. So there won't be any such duplication. There won't be any such duplication thing in the country. Okay. So reduce redundancy and duplication across multiple agencies. Okay. So it will require the Election Commission of India to prepare a single electoral roll for the entire country. So that is also a change which will require amendment. Okay. Now, for this also, for even preparing the electoral roll, amendment will be required, and that amendment needs ratification by half of the states. But changing the process of parliament and state legislative assembly elections does not require the ratification by the states. So that is one of the hidden elements of the constitution. Okay. Now, so this is the first thing about one nation, one election, that what has been the proposal. First thing is, now there is going to be one nation, one election that has been proposed. Union government through its union cabinet has approved it. It will go in the parliament. It will be, if it is passed by the parliament and then also ratified by the state governments, then it is going to become a law. If the union government wants it only for parliament and state legislative assembly, they can do it at any point of time. There is no such requirement of ratification by the states. If they want to change also for legislative, sorry, the local government, that will require some change. Otherwise, even by simple majority of parliament, it can be changed. Okay. So I hope that is clear. There is two. Oh, I have not given the name. The name has been given by the government, one nation, one election. They should have conducted it at one time. But then they are conducting it within 100 days. So they are saying 100 days difference is not a difference. Okay, Gaurav. So that is our first topic, the one nation, one election. Okay. Now, coming to the second topic, Indus Water Treaty. Indus Water Treaty. So in Indus Water Treaty, what has been said? The Indian government, it has said that we will not have any such meetings of the Permanent Indus Commission. There is one organization called as Permanent Indus Water Commission. Okay, Permanent Indus Commission, PIC. Okay. There is one thing called as Permanent Indus Commission, that is a commission which has been formed between India and Pakistan. Okay. So this commission is usually meeting on regular intervals, okay, to discuss the water sharing arrangement or disputes with respect to Indus Water Treaty. So this is one such method of, or one such engagement of India and Pakistan which has continued mostly. Okay. Despite the war, despite the challenges with India-Pakistan relation, this is one thing which has continued for almost the last 60 years. Okay. 65 years. In 1960, this was brokered by World Bank. From then, it is continuously in existence. Most of the time they are meeting. Sometimes, of course, the meetings have been cancelled, but generally it goes on. Okay. So, the last meeting was there in May 2022 in Delhi. After that, Government of India had said that we need to renegotiate the Indus Water Treaty. Without any such renegotiation, we are not going to have such meetings of this Permanent Indus Commission. Okay. Now, so since January 2023, India has written 4 times that we need to renegotiate. Otherwise, we will not have this meeting of the Permanent Indus Commission. So that is one thing which has been said by India with respect to Indus Water Treaty. Okay. Now, if we look at this treaty was signed in 1960. It was brokered by World Bank. So World Bank was like the mediating agency between India and Pakistan. Now, under this Indus Water Treaty, you know that the 6 rivers, they have been shared between India and Pakistan. Can you tell me which rivers have been allowed for India's consumption entirely and which one is largely for Pakistan? Can you give the names? South Africa is a small country. South Africa is in no manner South Africa can be compared with India. India is a much more larger country. India is a country with enormous diversity and enormous population. You cannot compare apples with oranges. Indus, Jhelum and Chenab, okay, that goes to Pakistan, and the Ravi, Byas and Satluj, that comes to India. Okay. So yes, that is true. We have the 3 rivers, Satluj, or simply write SBR, that it is coming towards India, and the CJI, that is Chenab, Jhelum and Indus, it goes to Pakistan. Okay. So now there is sharing of 6 rivers of Indus river system. The CJI, it goes largely to Pakistan. India can use this water for drinking and irrigation purposes, but there is a limitation. Okay. Then this 3 rivers on the southern side, that is Satluj, Beas and Ravi, India has full right over the. Okay. Now, so normally what is happening that in this permanent Indus commission, the commissioners are mandated to meet every year, and sometimes they have met multiple times also. But then last meeting was there in 2022. After that, there has been no such meeting of these two members or commissioners of these two countries, India and Pakistan. So now see, like what is India's demand? Okay, India says that we needs this renegotiation. We needs the renegotiation of this treaty. So what is the response of Pakistan? Pakistan wants it to discuss it at the level of commissioners. It says that, okay, if we are having some disputes, it can be resolved at the level of commissioners. The permanent Indus commission can meet and they can solve these challenges. They can solve these disputes. Okay. But India says that the commissioners are not for making the policies. Commissioners have been appointed for the execution of the policies. They are not there to form the treaty. They are not there to frame a new treaty. They have been appointed there in order to execute the treaty. If we want to renegotiate the treaty, it will be done between the governments, not between the commissioners. Okay. So that is India's response with respect to Indus Water Treaty. Pakistan says it can be done at the level of commissioners. India says no. We want a negotiation directly with the government, not with the commissioner. Okay. So commissioners are there to execute the things, not to plan the treaty or not to frame the treaty. That is one thing which has been said by India. Okay. Now, if we talk about India, what do we need, or why we are talking about this, like rationale of renegotiation? What is the rationale? Why do we want this renegotiation of the Indus Water Treaty? The first thing is change in population demographic. Now the population demographic of India and Pakistan has changed enormously. Okay. The number of the people living there or the population which is there, it has changed enormously, and the current water sharing arrangement is not suitable for the increased population. Okay. For the increased population, the current negotiation is not suitable. Hence, we need to renegotiate this treaty. Second thing is environmental issue. Okay. That India also need to accelerate its non-fossil fuel energy generation capacity. We need much more hydropower projects. But on the upper 3 rivers, that is Chenab, Jhelum and Indus, there is a restriction. So India says that we have to fulfill our agenda of climate action also. And for that, we have the option of hydroelectricity. But in the current arrangement, it cannot be done. So there is a need of renegotiating that deal. Earlier, India wanted to establish some like hydropower project there in Jammu and Kashmir region, but it was objected by Pakistan, and then there were like multiple challenges, okay, and due to which the power plants, the power projects could not be like functional, could not be made functional. The third thing is impact of persistent cross-border terrorism. Okay. Pakistan is inflicting its like the terrorism support, or it is sending the militants across the border. It is supporting also, okay, the extremist activities in the valley. So for all these reasons, India says that either we need to renegotiate again. There is another factor, solving the dispute resolution mechanism. Okay. That we need to find some solution, that if there is any dispute, how it is going to be resolved. Like normally what happens that if Pakistan is having any dispute, it starts crying in front of world that India is not sending us water, India is causing flood in our area, and so many challenges. Okay. So India says that let us have some dispute resolution mechanism. The earlier one is not working that much. Okay. So due to all these 4 factors, first changing demographic, environmental factor, cross-border terrorism and dispute redressal. So on these four, and there are other factors also, these are some of the main factors which has been highlighted by India, that why do we need the renegotiation of this Indus Water Treaty. Okay. So I hope this is clear. So this is like Indus Water Treaty between India and Bangladesh. Now, coming to the next thing, there are some new space missions also. Government has announced some new space mission. Okay. Some new space mission has been planned, starting from the Chandrayaan 4. Okay. Chandrayaan 4 mission. We have recently got the Chandrayaan 3 last year in 2023. Okay. There we have been able to get this soft landing on the surface of moon, near the south pole of moon. So now we are going to have the fourth phase of Chandrayaan. So that is one mission which is planned in the next 36 months. Okay. There is another plan, that is Shukrayaan mission or Venus orbiter mission. Last time in 2013 we had a mission on Mangal, on the Mars planet. Okay, that was named as Mars orbiter mission or Mangalyaan. So after this Mangalyaan, after nearly 15 years, in 2028 we are going to have a Shukrayaan or a Venus orbiter mission. So that is also one of the plan. We will discuss them in a little bit detail also. Third program is expanding the Gaganyaan project. India is going to have its own space station, that is Bharatiya Antariksh Station. That Bharatiya Antariksh Station is going to be made operational by 2035. Okay. So that is also the third important plan of the space mission of India. And the fourth one is development of a new launch vehicle. We have got so many launch vehicles, starting from one of the most successful, that is PSLV. We also have the GSLV, which is now also called as LVM, Launch Vehicle Mark III. Then we also have the small satellite launch vehicle. We are also in the stage of developing RLV, that is reusable launch vehicle. And then there is a development of a much more powerful engine, that is next generation launch vehicle, NGLV, next generation launch vehicle. So that is also a project which is finalized by the government. Okay. So let us see them one by one. First, the Chandrayaan. Okay, the Chandrayaan. If we talk about Chandrayaan, it is expected to be completed within the 36 months. Okay. So right now we are in 2024. So it is expected that by 2027 or 28, we are going to have Chandrayaan 4 mission. What will be the target this time? What we will try to do this time? This time we will try to bring back some lunar sample. The main objective of this mission is to bring back lunar sample. Bring back lunar sample or lunar rocks or sample. Okay. So we will bring something back from moon. Right now we have been just sending it there. Now we are going to bring it back to the earth. So we will not just send there, we will also make sure that that spacecraft comes back to us with some sample from the moon. So that is the objective of Chandrayaan 4. Okay. Then at the same time, like spacecraft development, 2 LVM-3 launches, deep space network support, special test, etc., etc. They will be part of it. Deep space network support means, like suppose if it is going in Shukrayaan, or if it is going to the moon also, then we will need some more better enhanced communication network, so that we can be in constant touch with the spacecraft. So we will need a deep space networks. Okay, deep space network support. That is something which we will try to develop. And this is Chandrayaan 4. Can you tell me, like we have got 3 points. We have got 3 points on the moon. What are they and which mission they are related to? We have got 3 points on moon. These 3 points correspond to the different launching sites or the destination sites of the 3 missions, Chandrayaan 1, 2 and 3. What are their names? What are the name of those 3 points? What are their names? The point they have touched on the moon, they have been given certain names. Chandrayaan 3, Shiv Shakti, okay? Jawahar point, okay, Jawahar point is for, I think most of you know this one, that Shiv Shakti point. Okay. That is for Chandrayaan 3. For Chandrayaan 1, like Gaurav has answered this, Jawahar point is there. Okay. So for Chandrayaan 1, we have the Jawahar point. Now, what is the name for the second one? What is the name for second one? You all have been reading current affairs daily. Tell me. What is the name of second point? Like the point of the second point where there was this Chandrayaan 2. Shiv Shakti, okay, Shiv Shakti is for Chandrayaan. No idea. Tiranga point. Tiranga point. See, first, the first one we have the Jawahar point, the second one is Tiranga point, and the third one is Shiv Shakti point. So we have got 3 different points on the moon with respect to the different landing missions. Okay. Now, the second part is Venus orbiter mission. Second part is Venus orbiter mission. So it is like Mangalyaan mission. It is same like Mangalyaan mission. There will be a spacecraft that will orbit the Venus planet. It is going to orbit the Venus. Okay. So it is going to be India's second interplanetary mission. India's first interplanetary mission was Mars orbiter mission or Mangalyaan. The second interplanetary mission will be Venus orbiter mission or Shukriyaan. Okay. So it is going to see, or it is going to study the planet's surface, subsurface, atmospheric process and sun's impact on its atmosphere. It is going to be launched in March 2028. Okay. And like budget is not that much more, 1236 crore only. Okay. Now, there is another thing, Bharatiya Antariksh Station. So we are also going to have our own Antariksh Station on the same principles like we have this International Space Station. So Gaganyaan mission, it has been extended. The Gaganyaan mission has been extended. We will be first sending the astronauts, and in the future by 2035, we are going to have a Bharatiya Antariksh Station also. Okay. So this is like a aim by 2025, and a crewed lunar mission means by 2040 we will send humans on the surface of moon, and that too with the indigenous technology. Okay. We will be sending the humans on the surface of moon, that too with indigenous technology by 2040. That is our timeline. Okay. So that is one thing. Now this Gaganyaan is having the biggest budget, that is 20,000 crore. Okay. So that is the budget of Gaganyaan extended program, including the Antariksh station. Okay. And one more thing is there, the next generation launch vehicle. So it is going to have at least like it is going to have 3 times the current payload capacity. Okay. It is going to have 3 times the current payload capacity as compared to the GSLV Mark III. Right now GSLV Mark III is the like most powerful. So we are going to have this next generation launch vehicle which will have capacity at least 3 times more than the GSLV. Okay. So can you tell me one thing? What is the capacity of GSLV in low Earth orbit? The maximum capacity of GSLV in low Earth orbit. Anyone, can you tell me what is the maximum capacity of GSLV in lower Earth orbit? That is 1480. That is for PSLV in high Earth orbit. I'm asking for the GSLV. For the GSLV Mark III, also called as LVM. Okay. Yes. So it is 10,000 kg. That is the payload capacity. So this next generation launch vehicle, it is said that it will have the payload capacity of. Have you cheated from here or not? You have not cheated, na? So it will have this payload capacity of 30 tons. Okay. No cheating from here. It is written 30 tons, so you don't simply say 10 tons. Okay. It is having this 10-ton capacity, the GSLV Mark III. Okay. So now this next generation launch vehicle, it will have the payload capacity of 30 tons in the low Earth orbit. Okay. And even in the high Earth orbit, it is going to provide much more payload capacity. Right now, the maximum payload capacity in the high Earth orbit is 4,000 kg by the GSLV Mark III. So it will offer more such capacity. Okay. Now, so that is also this next generation launch vehicle. So 4 things have been planned: Chandrayaan 4, Venus orbiter mission, Bharatiya Antariksh station, and also this next generation launch vehicle. So these 4 things, major such space programs, has been planned for future. Coming to the next one topic, extradition of Sheikh Hasina. So this is an interesting topic, extradition of Sheikh Hasina. So let me give you a hint. Let me give you a like idea here. In Bangladesh, there was creation of a international. There was formation of an international criminal tribunal. This international criminal tribunal was set up by the then Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina. So she has established this international criminal tribunal. It was established in 2010. Okay. Now, under the International Crimes Tribunal Act of 1973, Bangladesh court can proceed with criminal trials even in absence of the criminal. So she has got a tribunal in 2010, and that tribunal is empowered to try someone even in their absence, and in that case the person can be even declared guilty. So while Sheikh Hasina is not there in Bangladesh, they can still be declared guilty by the International Criminal Tribunal, which has been set up by her only way back in 2010. So that is one of the interesting story. Second thing, when she was there as a prime minister, then she made an extradition treaty with India also. In 2013, India and Bangladesh have signed an extradition treaty. Okay. So this was a strategic measure at that time, that Bangladesh and India have signed an extradition treaty. And this extradition treaty was like, it was said that it will address insurgency and terrorism. Normally you will find that like this extradition treaty, this is very much rare also, or not that much effective. But India and Bangladesh have got a very effective extradition treaty also. It was recently signed also, just 10 years back, between India and Bangladesh under the Prime Ministership of Sheikh Hasina. Okay. Now, it was also amended in 2016 to even ease the process, means to simplify the process, on the basis of which extradition can be made much more simpler. So she has first established an international criminal tribunal. Then she has also established an extradition treaty with India. That extradition treaty was even simplified in 2016. Then third thing, these have been even applied also, like in 2020. In 2020, two such people who were allegedly involved in killing of Mr. Hasina's father, that is Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. So they were extradited to Bangladesh by India. They were sent to Bangladesh by India. At the same time, India has also got one person, that is Anup Chetia, who was the General Secretary of ULFA. So this extradition treaty has been made effective also. Some notable criminals have been extradited by both the countries. So it is a effective, it is a functional extradition treaty. Okay. Now, so this treaty, what does it say? It says that individuals charged with or convicted of crimes that warrant a minimum sentence of 1 year's imprisonment, even if someone is having an imprisonment term of 1 year, they can be extradited back to each other countries. Okay. So even if someone is guilty of a crime where there is a punishment of more than 1 year, they can be extradited back to each other's country. There is another thing. Okay. There is a key thing, dual criminality. Okay. Means the offense must be criminalized in both the country. Means it must be a criminal offense in both countries, then only it can be extradited. Now in the case of Sheikh Hasina, the crimes related to her are like murder and then all other things. Okay. So that is a crime in both the country. Murder is a crime in India also, murder is a crime in Bangladesh also. So that on that charge, she can be extradited back. Okay. Now, so that is one part. There is another thing. There was a change in 2016. The change was like that now there is no such need or requirement to furnish concrete evidence against the offender. There was a change in 2016. The change was like that the country, suppose Bangladesh has to get the extradition of Sheikh Hasina, so they don't have to even give evidence that Sheikh Hasina is guilty. Even if she is charged, then also, or even if is convicted, then also they can simply take her back to Bangladesh. So they don't have to furnish any such evidences. So in India and Bangladesh, this extradition treaty is there. According to that treaty, there is no need to furnish any concrete evidence also against the offender. So all these arrangements have been made by Sheikh Hasina herself. Okay. She has made all these arrangements. And now the irony is, the same arrangements are going to be applicable on her. Okay. The same arrangements are going to be applicable on her. The International Criminal Tribunal, it has already given its intention that they are going to ask for the extradition of Sheikh Hasina. Okay. Now, under Article 10 of the treaty, only an arrest warrant is sufficient. If any court is issuing an arrest warrant, that is sufficient for the extradition. So that is the arrangement by Sheikh Hasina. Okay. There is a ground for refusal. There is a ground for refusal of extradition, and that grant is the extradition may be refused if the offense is of a political nature. Okay. If the offense is of a political nature, then it can be like refused, but there are limitations. Okay. Like a person who is having such cases of murder, terrorism related crimes, kidnapping, they cannot be classified as political. If a person is having a charge of murder, kidnapping or terrorism, then that will not be considered as political charge. That will be considered only as a criminal charge. Okay. So these things are excluded. So here also she doesn't have any such advantage. There is one more thing. One more thing. There is Article 8. Now, it is also one thing which might be applied. It says that denial of a request if the accusation is not made in good faith in the interest of justice. Okay. Means if there is a demand, but that demand is not in good faith, that is not for providing justice but to seek revenge, or it is to be done by military court, then in that case there can be a denial. Okay. So this is one of the ground on which India may refuse the extradition demand of Sheikh Hasina. There is one Article 8. Okay. So India could potentially refuse the extradition to Sheikh Hasina on this ground of Article 8, that she might not get the right justice in Bangladesh. She might not be getting the right justice in Bangladesh. So on this very ground, India may refuse to give Sheikh Hasina back to Bangladesh. Okay. That is one of the grounds where this extradition could be cancelled. Otherwise, Sheikh Hasina has formed, or Sheikh Hasina has led to creation of such a treaty that extradition like policy with India is very much easy. Any person who is involved in crime, like either they are from India or they are from Bangladesh, they can be extradited back quite easily. So she has made the arrangement and now she is facing the brunt of this. That is the irony of India-Bangladesh extradition treaty also. Okay. So all countries of the world, only India and there are extradition treaty with other also. Okay. So I hope this is clear. Okay. So let's meet in the next session and then we will discuss the remaining things. Revise the polity topics. I will ask you again. Okay. Thank you so much. Take care. What was the output data of Chandrayaan 3? For Chandrayaan 3, like there is some information just about the nature of soil and all other things. Nothing major has been announced directly to the public. Okay. Okay, so thank you so much. Take care.